Greetings, Merpler Serplers. Today I've got a hopefully quick and concise video and thorough. Hopefully this is the last video you have to watch about how to build your own RO system to take water out of your sap to reduce your boiling time. I'm hoping this will reduce my boiling time by about half. So this is going to be a similar setup to something that you could get from the RO bucket. I'm in Canada, and unfortunately for us here in Canada, it just costs quite a bit more than it does for you in the States to buy that. So this is going to be something similar to that. And before we get too far into the video, I'll just address the question that there's a good chance a lot of you have, which is, of course, how fast is it? So I did time it the first time I used it, and it was going through about 22 gallons of sap in 1 hour. So I'm pretty happy with that. So that is really close to the output you would be getting from the RB15 from the RO bucket. That one would go through 24 gallons per hour of sap, and we're at 22 with this system. So this should easily handle the 80 to 90 taps that I've got this year. Very happy with it. Pretty cool. Feels kind of like cheating, but it's not. If you're thinking about building one of these and you're kind of intimidated, hopefully this video will simplify it for you. It's not actually that complicated. There's not that many parts. And I'll try to walk you through the whole process, tell you everything that you need to buy, and then I'll show you how to put the pieces together so that your RO system will work properly. So my setup that I've got here today cost me about $500 Canadian, and that is with the Aquatech 8800 pump. And then in the back here I've got two 400 GPD filters. So first of all, you don't have to build a big ugly contraption like I've got here. A stand, you can put it in a bucket, you can mount it on a wall. If you've researched this at all, I'm sure you've seen different configurations for what you can do. So this is just what I chose to do to try and keep it kind of compact. So let's dive into it. So the first thing that's going to happen with the system, obviously it's not connected yet. I'll show you that in a bit. Before I get into it, definitely if you're interested in buying these things, check out the description below this video. I will have Amazon links for you to purchase these things, or you can source your own things if you want. So to start off with, the pump is the Aquatech 8800 pump. Really popular pump. I actually got mine off of eBay. It was like $20 cheaper for me than buying it through Amazon, so I did that. You can also buy it through Amazon, no problem. So from what I read, this pump is more ideally suited to pushing liquid through a tube or a pipe as opposed to sucking it up. So we've got it at the start of our chain. So to start with, we're going to have our bucket of raw sap. The sap's going to be sucked up into the pump, and then from here, the pump is going to push it through. To make this RO system work the best, I did read it is good to have your sap bucket elevated up above the pump so that you can use gravity just to help feed it into the pump. Just give it a little bit of a boost. Then from the pump, it's going to be run into this filter. So this is just a standard 2-inch by 10-inch filter for water. And just make sure when you buy one that it is rated for enough pressure. A lot of people run their pumps at about, I would say about 90 to 110 psi. So make sure that the housing that you get for your 5-micron filter is rated for at least that. So what this does is it just strictly filters debris out of the sap. It's going to get caught up in the filter so that what moves on from here is cleaner. So from the filter here, there's going to be a 5-micron cartridge that's going to go in here, which I don't have yet. I can show you that maybe up on the screen. And that's a replaceable part. You have to replace that every now and then. From there, it's just going to go into this gauge, simple pressure gauge, an RO gauge. It's going to show you how much pressure is on the lines. You do need quite a bit of pressure just for the system to work properly. So then from here, it's going to go out, and in my case, it's going to go to the back side. A lot of people, like I mentioned, will just have a flat board or something that's all up together. So then in that case, these would just be mounted beside the gauge. Just imagine that we have a line coming down into here, into this housing. So this is kind of where the magic happens with an RO system. These are the RO membranes. So like I mentioned, I've got two 400 GPD, 400 gallons per day filters here. And this pump, from what I've seen, generally recommended is you can have up to 3 of these filters. I've obviously only got 2 at this point. I left space for a third in case I decide to upgrade. And if I were to add the third membrane, it should help to take even more of the water out of the sap in one pass. So when you buy them, just make sure you get a housing, which is the plastic outer shell. And then you're also going to need the membrane as well, which is what really does the work. So the kit I bought included both together. You can buy them separate if you want. So this is the membrane. And there are different ratings of these filters you can get, different sizes. So another common size is 150 GPD. Off the top of my head, I think I would say up to 4 is recommended for that if you decide to go that route. From my research, I would say that's a good guideline to get you going. If you put too many filters on, this pump just isn't going to be very efficient. It's not powerful enough to keep the pressure up to blast the sap through that amount. So the sap's going to come through here, then it's going to go into this one, and this is going to refine it even further. My plumbing is going to be wired what's called in series. So the sap's going to come through here, it's going to have some of the water removed, then it's going to get through here and get refined even further. You can also plumb these in something called parallel, which means that the sap comes into each one and then it just shoots it out. So they're kind of like all doing the same thing. They're not working in step, they're kind of all working at the same time. So you can do that. The RO bucket guys didn't seem to recommend that, so I'm not going to do that. Apparently that's good, like if you're recycling the sap over and over. At this point I can't really tell you too much between the difference between series and parallel, but most people are doing it in series, so that's what I'm going to do. So that in one pass I'm getting a lot of the water reduced instead of like quickly rushing it through and just needing to do it over and over just to get the amount of water removed from the sap that I'm going for. So the RO system for sap just kind of works in reverse for a normal RO system for water. With a water system, we have 2 ports here. So to the one port you'd have your pure water. Out of the other port you'd have the dirty water, I guess you could call it. With sap, it's also going to be sending out pure water, perfectly drinkable, and then what you could call the dirty water, but in this case it's going to be the sap. So that's what we're going to want to keep because that's going to have the water removed. So that's the basic concept of it. We're going to have 2 lines coming out of here, and the one will just go into like a waste bucket. And then the other bucket, of course, is going to contain the sap that now has so much less water in it and it is ready to be boiled. So let's get into it. So when you get your pump, make sure it comes with a transformer. As you can see here, I don't have the transformer. Basically that's going to be what plugs into here and into the wall so you get the right amount of power. My transformer is still on the way. The pump is very simple. Don't be alarmed if when you get it and you open it up these ports, there's a little bit of water in there. That's probably just from testing at the factory to make sure that the pump works. My pump came with one of these yellow things in each side. So these are push fittings, very simple. You just push on this gray part and that'll pop out. And that's how you also would remove your lines, just by pushing on that. The pump is going to probably be your biggest expense in your system, especially if you get a quality pump. So this pump was about $230 Canadian. So my pump came with a fitting as well, so I've already got that installed on this side. So my RO membranes came with some extra parts as well. They came with some 1/4 inch RO line or plastic tubing, food safe, and I've also got some connectors. Again, that's going to be in the parts list to help you get the right ones. So the bulk of our system here is going to use 1/4 inch RO tubing. So the input of this pump will accept a 3-inch hose. And I did see it recommended to use 3-inch for the intake. So I picked up some 3/8 of an inch poly tube. Food safe. It's 3/8 outside diameter, 1/4 inch inside diameter. And you're just going to need a few simple tools to assemble this. You might want a wrench, like I've got a crescent wrench here to tighten up the fittings. You're going to want something to cut some tubing. I've got like a PEX cutter. You could use a scissor or a knife. Just try to get nice straight cuts. And you also want some plumber's tape. The cut here on the hose from the store is not very straight, so I'm just going to try to give it a nice straight cut. And we just push it in. Push it all the way. There we go. And yes, in my case, I do have the pump installed upside down. The pump is directional, so make sure that you have your intake hose going into the side that's sucking in, not expelling it out. And it is marked on the pump. So it is okay to mount these upside down, and I have seen it recommended just in case the housing were to leak, water would not be falling onto the motor which is below. So that's what I chose to do. Lots of people do it that way, but you can do the other way as well. But you have to loop the hose around a bit. So my particular filter housing came with, I believe it is 5/8 inch ports. So I needed adapters to go from 5/8 down to a 1/4 inch push fitting. So that's what I've got here. And again, this is in the list. So with our Teflon tape, we're going to want to give it 3 wraps. And that is important to wrap Teflon tape as normal for all plumbing things in the direction of the thread, so that when you thread it in, it doesn't just push the Teflon tape back. So when you're staring at the end of your tube or your pipe, just be doing it clockwise. So I did about 3 wraps. You don't want to do too many wraps of Teflon tape or it loses its effectiveness. So, and this is plastic, so don't go Gorilla tight or you might break something. And it is important to get all your connections good so that you don't get air leaks or your system's not going to work properly. You don't want sap spilling out. Okay. So then we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to work at connecting this up to a gauge. So I've got the 1/4 inch tubing now with some of the 1/4 inch elbows going into my gauge. And with your gauge, not sure how yours came, but mine didn't come like fitted tightly. So make sure you pull it apart and use Teflon tape and snug that all up nice and tight so you don't get leaks out of your gauge. So these connectors came with these little blue clips. So these are just to lock things in place, because when you press these in, it disconnects. So you just slide it in like that, and that'll lock them in so they don't accidentally open up. So add those into all your fittings as well. Wah, wah, wah. So I made my first big mistake that I'm aware of. I broke this while screwing it into this. I made it too tight. So caution, don't screw them too tight or they could break. So moving to our RO membranes, they come with fittings. So you got this guy here is going to go in the top. It just pushes in, and it comes with a blue clip. Over here there's an opening. Let's push that in there, and that's locked in place now. And you can swivel that, so that's nice. So you're going to do that to both of these. And then in the bottom of the membranes, we can push one of these into each of these holes, and again, use a appropriate size blue clip to lock it in place. And here's how we plumb into the RO membranes. So we got our sap line coming here from the gauge. So it's going into the top of the first membrane housing. And you can notice here I have got an additional connector here. And that's just because in my case, these housings that I got had a 3/8 inch connector on here. And since my tubing is only a 1/4 inch, I needed to get a 3/8 push fitting to 1/4 inch push fitting connector, or reducer I should say, just to get that to connect. In the parts list in the description, hopefully that'll all be figured out, so you might not need this piece. Anyway, that's pretty simple. So down at the bottom here, this is how we're going to connect this. So in the lower part here of the membrane housing is where the permeate's going to come through, so that's the water in this case. So we've got from the low port connected to the low port with a T here, and then this you just kind of need some extra length here just to go into one bucket for your permeate water. And then out of the higher port, it's going up and down into the top of this filter, just like this one, just a continuation. So we teed in there, and then out of this line here, in my case it's blue, kind of backward, it's just the way it worked out for me. So out of the blue tube, I've got my concentrated sap coming out, and on the concentrate line here, you're going to want to put a needle valve so you can adjust the flow, and that's going to adjust your pressure. So I would put it fairly close to this, because I found at first I had a longer piece where it was connected and it was hitting the floor and it was actually adjusting the flow. And it's really important that once you get your flow dialed in, it just stays locked in place. So I moved it closer so it shouldn't be hitting anything. So I have had a whale of a time putting these needle valves on. So what I discovered seems to work the best is I will first put this part on, make it flush on the inside there with the end of the hose, with the bushing there. Then you take this piece here, and it's tight to get on. So you're going to put that in there. So with the plier, what you want to do, I've already got it in now, I just had a bit of a time, but so with the plier, what you want to do is see how this part stays fixed and this part moves. So what you're going to do is put the fixed part of your pliers onto this part of the tube, and then with the moving part you're going to push that stem in. So what happens if you have it flipped around, the bottom part of your pliers is going to push this fitting up off the tube. So just make sure you have the pliers the right way, and then it should help you get that seated. And you're going to want enough length on here as well to go into a bucket. So now you may be wondering what to do once you're ready to actually get your system used. What do you have to do to prepare it? So I recommend running 10 to 20 gallons of water through the system to get ready. So before you do that, you're going to want to open up your filter, add some water into the housing, drop your 5 micron filter in here, close it all up. That'll allow the filter to start soaking, and it'll just save you having to suck in water just to fill up this housing on the initial startup. And if you haven't already done so with your RO membranes, they do have to come out of the outer plastic that you had seen. Just that clear plastic's got to come off, and tighten that up. And then it's pretty simple. With your feed line, drop that in a bucket of clean water, and you're gonna have your 2 discharge hoses, so you'll have your concentrate and your permeate. It can just be going into the same bucket for this, and you're just gonna plug your pump in. It's gonna start running right away. Hopefully you don't have any leaks. And you want, while you're just running water through, you're just gonna want to have your needle valve all the way open, and eventually you'll get water coming out of both hoses if all is good. And don't worry if when you check your pressure gauge it's at 5 psi or something. It's not going to be reading very high with water. Water is different than the sap, so don't freak out and think that, oh my, I'm not getting enough pressure, something's wrong. If you're just using water, you're not going to have much pressure in your system. That's perfectly fine. And yeah, so just purge the system for a while, make sure there's no leaks or anything. And at that point, once you've run 10 to 20 gallons of water through, I think you're ready to use it. So you can unplug it, and then you're ready to start using it for sap. So once you're ready to start running sap through this, what I would do is get 2 small cups that are the same size and catch the fluids coming out of both these hoses, and you're going to want to dial back your concentrate needle valve until the flow is coming out at the same rate out of both hoses. So you got a 50-50 mix, and then you should be good to go. And if all is good, your pressure should be sitting close to 100 psi. And that should be a wrap for this video. Hope that you found it helpful. If you did, one of the best ways that you can thank me is just to use one of my affiliate links down below before you hit buy on Amazon for all your stuff, if you're getting it from there. If not, no worries. I'll try to stay on top of the product listings to make sure that the links are working. That can change pretty fast, so no guarantees. If the link isn't working, you can find something similar. There's lots of options. It doesn't have to be exactly what I picked. So hopefully the links and descriptions will get you pointed in the right direction. Adios.